Hi, everyone. Once again, my name is Gole Andrew. I work with Encrypt Uganda, and I am a digital security trainer. Thank you for joining us for this session on digital security, step-by-step guide. Okay, are we all fine? Hello?
Yes, we are.
That's good. Hopefully I'm not speaking to myself. Okay, so I think we can begin and we wait for the other members to join us as we go on. Like we said in the announcement, this is basically a hands-on session. So we are going to be doing mostly like practical demonstrations and step-by-step ways of doing a few things that are related to digital security. And I know by just saying digital security is not a new word to most people. I would like to believe it's not the first time everyone in this call or in this session is hearing about digital security. Okay, so when we talk about digital security, different things come in people's minds. These are basically two words brought together: the word digital, which also means something that is not new to us, and the word security. Okay, so when we bring these two words together and we say digital security, what we simply mean is taking the necessary precautions, doing one or two things required to ensure that your online safety and the safety of your information or data is safe. Okay, that's why we are saying digital. We are focusing much more on online atmosphere because we know that every day that we visit the internet comes with its own challenges. There are a lot of insecurities. There are a lot of threats on the internet. We have heard of things like hacking. We have heard of things like data mining. We have heard of things like people complaining, my Facebook account was hacked. I cannot have access. I used to have my photos. We have had people complaining of their emails being hacked and they can't find their emails or they can't access them. So those are some of the insecurities on the internet. That's why we always talk about digital security and how you can take the necessary precautions needed to keep yourself and your information safe online. Okay. So basically what I was saying is digital security and safety is protection of one's identity online. Now, this involves a number of procedures and steps. You need to take precautions. There are many things that you have to put in place to ensure that, yes, you are practicing proper digital security measures. And this involves and details tools and means to secure your identity and assets, especially in the online environment. Now, which tools do we be talking of when we mention tools? We have heard of things like antivirus. We have heard of things like firewall. We have heard of things like using strong passwords, using two-factor authentication. So this hands-on session today is going to focus on some of the online threats that are common, and we shall look at solutions or what necessary precautions we can take to ensure that we are safe and our assets are safe in the online environment. Now, there are a number of online threats, or you can call them vulnerabilities. Some people have already interacted with this. Some people have been affected by this. So we are going to look at a number of vulnerabilities for today's session and how we can avoid them or how we can prevent them from affecting us, or how we can prevent them from affecting us again, especially if it has ever affected us. We want to make sure that it doesn't happen again. So the first online vulnerability that we are looking at today is something we call phishing. Okay? Just from the sound of the word phishing, it should put something in your mind. We all know fishing with an F is the act of going to the river or to the lake and catching fish. That is not new to us. So when we talk about fishing with a PH, it is something which is similar to the other fishing of catching fish, okay? But what is being fished in this case is not the normal fish. So in other words, fishing with a PH is a fraudulent attempt to obtain sensitive information. Information like credit card details, information like passwords, information like usernames, by disguising as trustworthy entities or someone trying to assume the identity of another person or another organization, okay? And it is primarily sent through emails. Now, if everyone was to go back and check a list of all the emails they have received ever since they opened their email accounts, chances are high that you will come across one email which is a phishing attempt or a phishing attack. In other words, someone sent you an email with the objective of getting confidential information or sensitive information from you. Now, these emails are really very easy to identify if you know what to look out for. For example, most of these emails are designed poorly. That means the grammar is bad, the spellings are bad. The quality, you just look at it and you ask yourself, is this really my bank which is sending me this email? Now, why is it in such a way that the emails are very poor quality? Is because sometimes they are designed by people who don't even know English, so they have to use online translators, maybe. You understand, eh? And these emails usually include a sense of urgency, like trying to stimulate your mind to react quickly to the problem that the email is saying. For example, they can say, your Facebook account has been hacked. Click here to go and change your password now. Okay, you understand? So just by hearing that your Facebook account or your email address or your Twitter account has been hacked, it's trying to stimulate your mind to react quickly, because we all know what happens when you are hacked, okay? It's just like someone saying there is a thief who has broken into your house. Do this to prevent them from creating havoc. It creates that sense of urgency, trying to make you react quickly. Now, we all know the human mind is a bit tricky, okay? By creating that sense of urgency, it can prevent you even from looking at some of the clues which show this is a phishing attack in progress. So we have examples of phishing attacks that I would show briefly. Then we move on to the next topic. Hopefully I am clear, and if you have any questions, use the chat. There's a colleague of mine who is taking notes and recording all the questions. Then we will be able to answer them at the end of this session. And for the participants who want to introduce themselves also, you can use the chat to introduce yourself. It is important to know one another, okay? So I am going to show this. So let me pause sharing this, and then I share this other one, then I will come back. So if you're able to see what I am sharing, this is an example of an outcome of a phishing attempt. What the phishing attacks aim at is find ways of stealing confidential information. Okay? And we are talking of information like usernames, right? Passwords. Basically, they are trying to steal login information. So for example, this was an attack for PayPal. So a hacker was trying to use this link to get information from PayPal users. And we know PayPal is a payment platform. So that means money, money, money. Okay.
Andrew, sorry to interrupt you. Are we supposed to be seeing a different screen from the PowerPoint? Because we can only see the PowerPoint slide.
Oh, sorry. Okay, let me come back to it.
Yeah, if you can show us what, I don't know, maybe you were showing an email or something like that. I think it would be, there we go. Yeah,
how about
we can
now?
see it
Okay.
now. Yep.
Okay, so like I was saying, this, for those who have used PayPal before, this looks like a PayPal login, okay? Now, this is not the PayPal we know. Okay? This was used by a hacker some time back to steal confidential login details for PayPal, okay? Now, how do you get to this? Usually this link is sent through an email that we're calling a phishing email, okay? So when you click that link, if the objective is to steal your PayPal details, you will see something like this, okay? And remember, it has already created a sense of urgency in your mind. Your PayPal account has been hacked. Please click this link, go and change your password now, okay? It will lead you to something like this. And if you do not know how to look out for this, you will provide the hacker with your email address and the password, okay? There's another link here. So this one was used to steal information for Chase. Chase is, I think, is a bank in one of those European countries. So again, this was a link which was sent in a phishing email with the objective of stealing confidential details, okay, for Chase, the bank. So there are so many of such hacking attempts that were used, and successfully they gained access to people's confidential details. If you always follow like line news related to computer security and IT, you always hear of Yahoo has been hacked, millions of user details is on the dark web, PayPal, you hear LinkedIn has been hacked, millions of users details is on the dark web. Something like that. You find all of a sudden you can't access your Facebook account. That means someone somewhere fished out your confidential details and successfully hacked your account, okay? So there are many of these, and it is there in the slide that we shall share. There are so many, okay? The gallery is actually having very many, as you can see. I think this one was for eBay and many others. So let's go back to our slide shortly. Just a moment. So I'm sharing something. So if you're able to see, what I am sharing is an example of a phishing email, okay? This is a phishing attack that was sent out with an objective of getting details for Facebook, login details, okay? So if you can read this, dear Facebook user, we are pleased to be sending you the email. And as you can see here, very immediately, they are trying to create that sense of urgency that we are talking about in our slides, okay? And it's actually saying click here, okay, to go to your Facebook account. You can see clearly this looks like a Facebook URL. Those of us who use Facebook know this. You can see from Facebook notifications. Eh? That is notifications at facebook.com. So it actually looks like it is from Facebook. But if you remember in our slide, we said these emails are poorly designed, okay? If you read this very well, you can clearly tell that it has all the signs of a phishing attack, okay? This link that appears to be showing Facebook, actually it is not showing Facebook. When you hover the mouse, you can see that there's another link, okay? Facebook.00 web host app, something like that. And the grammar is very poor, okay? So this is a phishing attack. If you click that link, it can direct you to a page which looks exactly like Facebook, but the URL is not. Okay. Are we together? So this is what we're talking of, a phishing email. Now, when you click this, your email server will actually tell you that the link, the text is showing something else and the link is showing something else. So those are some of the protections in email services that we use to protect you from phishing attacks. Otherwise, if we didn't have that, it will just direct you to the other page, which will look like Facebook, and all of a sudden, you will give out your details. If you have any questions related to phishing, the chat box is open. You can ask there. So let me go back to our chat, to our presentation. Okay, that is phishing. Now, then there is what we're calling pharming, okay? Pharming with a PH. Now, pharming is when a hacker redirects an internet user to a fake website instead of the legitimate one. And still, that the intention is to steal sensitive information like the passwords and the usernames. We know how valuable that can be to a hacker, okay? Now, pharming and phishing go hand in hand because all of them are trying to steal confidential information. Now, the difference between pharming and phishing is that pharming with a PH is a bit advanced. So you're probably not going to receive any phishing email. But the hacker will just try to redirect your internet traffic. So you put facebook.com in the browser, click enter. But along the way, they'll redirect that traffic to another copy or another illegitimate Facebook page, okay? And if you do not know how to spot such, they will steal your confidential information, okay? Now, there are videos here that at the end of this presentation, we shall share the slide that explain pharming and phishing in details, and also tells you how to protect yourself and how to look out for such attacks related to pharming or phishing. Yes. Now, another online vulnerability that is not a new thing to many of us is spyware or malware, or we know viruses. Okay. Now, spyware is just a form of malware. Are we together? How is this an online vulnerability? Okay. Now, spyware is always designed to monitor your keystrokes, to read and delete your files, to reformat your hard drive. It can actually create a lot of damage to your files and system in general, okay? Now, they are also very sophisticated. Sometimes they are sent out through attachments. Okay? So things that you download on the internet. Sometimes it is softwares that it comes with spyware embedded. So we all know that we like softwares, and some softwares are paid for. Others, they say it is free, okay? Others, it is a free, it's not free, it's what we call a crack or a hack of a paid for software. And the most common software that we have all used, or most of us use actually, that is not free, but you're able to use it because someone somewhere did you the favor of hacking or cracking it, is Microsoft Windows. Microsoft Windows 2010, no, Windows 10 is about $299, if I am not mistaken. But many of us actually use it for free. So they just get one, they install, and then someone somewhere cracks it for them or patches it for them. Okay? Now, such softwares that are free come at a cost. And even the others, there are games that we download on our phones, there are games that we download on our PCs. We all love FIFA. FIFA is not a free software, but somehow you find you are using the FIFA 2020 free version. They always call them cracks. Now, those, I'm not saying all of them, but chances are high that many of them come with spyware embedded. You will not notice, okay? It will be there running in the background, and it will be doing all this havoc, okay? Now, there are some examples of known spyware that have been recorded to have caused havoc on people's computers. For example, cool web search. Now, if you check on your browsers, we all know the search, the software we use for searching is Google, but some of us have very many other search softwares for searching, you see, besides Google, and maybe the one which is on Microsoft, is it called the Bing? Okay. So there are many others that you just find all of a sudden. You click maybe a link and then it is installed itself. You don't even understand it. Okay. For example, cool web search. Now it's a program, okay, but then it took advantage of security vulnerabilities in Internet Explorer, and it used that to hijack the browser, change the settings, sends browsing data to the designer of the software. Now, we all know what browsing data is and what kind of information it has. When you search something on the internet, it is stored in your browser. So that information can be very valuable to the author of the spyware. They can sell your internet activity to maybe ad companies for a whole lot of money. Okay? And that's where you find all of a sudden you just receive so many ads. Every time you open a website, there are ads following you. And if you look at some of them critically, they appear to be related to something you have ever either spoken of or searched or Googled or something like that. Most of these come from your internet activity or your browser data. We have another spyware which was called Getter. It usually comes with file software, file sharing software. So as you can see, Getter is bundled with a file sharing software. That means many spyware are actually bundled with other software. They don't come on their own. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be able to install them. But they come with legitimate softwares, okay? They are like a bug, or you can call it a bug. So this one was bundled with file sharing software, like Kazaa. Now for it, it would monitor the victim's web surfing habits and uses the information to serve them with better targeted ads. So as you can see, your browsing data is valuable to someone, okay? And it is valuable to people who send ads. Okay? That is why chances are high that you see ads related to things that you love, things that you have searched for before. You find, I have never seen ads of a shoe for ladies. I always see ads for men's shoes or ads for phones. You understand? Eh? That is because the ads are targeted to your interests. Then there is another spyware which is called advanced keylogger. Now, this is a keystroke logger, and by keystroke logger, what we mean, whatever you type on your keyboard, it logs it. That's why it's called a keylogger. It logs that and then sends it to the author. So for example, if you're typing your password, yes, I'm not able to see what you're typing, but the keylogger is able to see that, okay, you typed KOLL 0 hashtag. You understand it? So whatever you type on your keyboard, it logs it. That's why you're saying this advanced keylogger has the ability to monitor keystrokes and even take screenshots, okay? So even the page that you're viewing, like right now, let's say we are all viewing this screen, okay? What I am sharing, it logs it and sends to the author. It is very valuable to them, okay? I don't know, is there any question? I think someone is taking note and recording all the questions. I saw someone raise their hand. Okay, let's proceed to the next. Now, these are symptoms of spyware. So for example, all of a sudden, your computer or phone has slowed down. It used to be very fast. You have 4 GB RAM. The processor is very good. But all of a sudden, you don't understand it anymore. You don't understand your computer anymore. You don't understand your phone. It is slow. Sometimes you just feel like smacking it down. Then on the browser, you click something and then there are pop-ups. We all know, I think we all know pop-ups. You open one page and 10 others load in the background. And when you see what has loaded, some of them are ads for betting, others they are ads for indecent behavior, others they are trying to sell something to you. Okay? All those are signs and symptoms of, oh, did I move? Sorry. All those are signs and symptoms of spyware. Okay. Then even there are features in your browser that you don't remember installing. Now, browsers come with things like plugins and extensions and add-ons. Okay. Now, these are designed to enhance the capability of your browser. But all of a sudden, you go to check and you find things that you don't remember installing. Okay. Those are signs of spyware because they are designed with different objectives. Some of them are designed to install stuff on your browser, on your device. Okay? And there are many others. These are not the only signs, but chances are high if any of these three you are experiencing, then maybe your device has spyware. Okay. Now, how can we prevent or how can we get rid of spyware? Now, it is often very hard because if a spyware has the ability to install itself without being detected by your usual antivirus program, then that means even removing it will need some effort. Okay. So there's this program which is called Spybot. It's designed almost like an antivirus, but for it, its work is to search and clean or destroy the spyware from your devices. Okay. So for it, it can scan your entire system. It knows what to look out for. And then if it detects it, it can clean it. Okay. Then also another way of preventing spyware is always keep your software updated. Okay. Now, updating software usually comes at a cost of internet. Many people actually use outdated software because they don't want to update. Sometimes they are what I was calling cracked software. And cracked software, when you update them, sometimes the authors also are able to know that this software here is what? Pirated. And maybe they can block it. So usually you decide not to update it just to continue using the software a little longer. Softwares like, for example, if you have ever used Internet Download Manager, it's not a free software. It comes with a 30 days trial, but then afterwards you're supposed to pay, I think, about $22 for life, or is it $12 for 12 months, okay? But many people who are using Internet Download Manager actually are using a pirated copy or cracked. And once you update it, then the authors grab you, okay? And then maybe they disable it. So always keep your software updated. And I'm not only saying Internet Download Manager, I'm saying all the softwares that you use. Their developers always send out patches, and when they discover a vulnerability, they send out an update. And that update is there to ensure that the software is fixed. Okay. Windows, you should always make sure you update your Windows, or if you're using another, or maybe Linux or any other operating system. Avoid clicking pop-ups. Now, pop-ups can be very annoying. Sometimes you don't even intend to click them, but there's a way they are, the developers of these extensions or these plugins, they design them in a way that if you are on a website, you find the button is put where you don't even expect. So you just find you have clicked it all of a sudden. Those who have visited movie sites know what I am talking about, okay? Many of them have too many pop-ups, okay? Now, how can you stop this? Use pop-up blockers, or even ad blockers. There are softwares like AdGuard, which come as browser extensions, or AdBlock, which is also a browser extension, that when you install, it can disable ads or pop-ups on the website you visit. So even if the website has pop-ups and ads, when you install and activate any of this, you will notice that you no longer see them. Now, how does this look? Let me share. Let me first pause this one, and then I share something else. Just a second. Okay, so if you can see here, I hope, are we all seeing that? Are we all seeing that? I'll take that as a yes. So if you can see here, I have installed AdGuard. So whatever site you visit, if it has ads, they will be suppressed. So you will not see them. And if it has pop-ups, so even if you click a link which has a pop-up, it will suppress the pop-up. Okay. So AdGuard is free. I think it also has other versions that you can install, but there is a free version. There is AdBlock, then there's AdBlock Lite. Some of the software, if you install them, it can enable you to prevent the issue of pop-ups. Okay, we are back here. Yes, let's continue. Don't click suspicious links, okay, that come via email. Are we together? Now, these links might not look suspicious to the naked eye, but they can be links to spyware or malware. So by clicking, you could be sending command that install, okay? You understand? A lot of things happen when you click these links. Sometimes even by clicking the link, is like you are giving the spyware consent or access to your device just by clicking. That's why we are saying, don't click suspicious links. Links you don't understand, don't click. And if you have any doubts, scan the link using online tools like VirusTotal. Now, VirusTotal detects if maybe a file is infected with a spyware or malware. VirusTotal can detect if a link is directing you to maybe to a site which has malware, okay, or spyware. Okay. Are we together? I have a feeling I'm speaking alone. Hello?
We're here, we're listening. You have a bunch of questions as well, so.
Oh, okay, okay.
I don't know, maybe
So,
in the last 15 minutes, if you want to take
yes,
some of those questions, I think that could also work.
yes, yes. Okay, good to know I'm not alone. So let me. I'm sorry. There's going to be a whole lot of sharing my screen because I need to show you people these things. So let me show you an example of a link to a file which is not safe. Okay. Just a second. Okay. Yes. So this is virus total. Okay. So when you go to virustotal.com, you can analyze suspicious files and URLs to detect types of malware and automatically share them with the security community. Now, this is very important. If that file is infected or if that link is a suspicious link, it will be shared with the security community. So you will be helping others, okay, by entering it here. So that means it will be recorded, okay, and someone else will probably not fall prey to that. So you can put a file or you can put a URL. So for us, we are going to put a URL. Now, this was done for research purposes. It's not actually malicious, but it has some elements which, okay, the way it was designed has elements of a virus or a malware. So when we put this link, now this is a link to a file, okay, and this is the file. Now that file, if we scan it via virus total, so you can actually see. Now what virus total does is it has engine or virus engine for very many antivirus programs. So you can actually see there's Bit Defender here. You can see, where is Kaspersky? Kaspersky is somewhere there. It's here. You can see Asset. You can see which other antivirus do we use. This one is called Avast. Avast should be somewhere, or Avast is not there. But you can see Avira. So most antivirus engines are here. Okay. Now this was detected by this engine and then this one as what? Malicious, okay, or malware. Are we together? So that means this file is malicious. So if you click that file or if you downloaded that file through an email and opened it, we all know what would happen, okay? You would be giving the malware permission to actually install on your device. And then who knows, maybe your computer could shut down or it could delete all your files, or it could actually, it could actually do what we're calling lock all your files, and you will not be able to access unless you send the authors some money via undetectable channels like Bitcoin. Okay? And even there's no guarantee that when you send them that money, they will unlock your files. Okay, so they could always just ask you money indefinitely until you just give up. Okay, so if you have any other file that you think is suspicious, don't open, copy, and then paste it in what? VirusTotal if it's a link. And if it's just a file, upload it without opening. Okay? But the most important thing is leave it alone. At least contact someone who has the ability to actually handle it safely. I wouldn't recommend you to do it yourself because anything can happen. Are we together? Hopefully. Okay. So let's go back to our slides. Yes, be cautious of free downloadable software. And this is what I was saying. If it is free, then probably there's a catch. Okay? So free is not free sometimes. And if you feel you really want to install it, but at least scan the file with antivirus before installing. And if it's not a very big software, upload it to VirusTotal, where there are many engines or virus engines that can be able to search. So your normal antivirus might not be able to detect it, but then another one, which is maybe more stronger, detects. Then lastly, but not least, always use secure browsers. Okay, so there are so many browsers, but kindly use the ones that everyone is using, or the ones which are not just Coney, because there are these other browsers. There are so many. You would think there are only 3, but there are more than 10 even. Okay, so maybe use Firefox or Chrome or Safari to be on the safe side. And if you don't mind, actually, there are other better browsers like Brave. There's a browser called Brave. Okay? Highly recommended among the information security community. Open source. Okay, that means it was designed without the, the objective of making money in mind. Otherwise, if it is these other ones who are after making money, they'll do all things. Okay? Are we together? Yes. Now, another online vulnerability, which wasn't popular until recently due to this crisis, is called Zoom bombing. Okay. So some of us have been in Zoom meetings that have experienced such a thing. Okay. So imagine if we are here having our discussion and then someone just joins the meeting, starts sharing indecent information, starts saying vulgar language, doing all the nasty stuff. That is Zoom bombing. Okay. So it is unwanted intrusion into a video conference showing obscene Hollywood things by uninvited individuals, causing disruption. Sometimes their aim is just to cause the disruption. Okay, are we together? So these things don't only happen on Zoom, WebEx, on platforms like Skype, on platforms like Google Meet, on platforms like Jitsi Meet. Okay, some of the things have actually happened in physical conferences we are having. So you are there having a training, and then someone, or a drunkard, or someone who's just having evil intentions, just enters the conference room and starts abusing everyone. Okay, so that behavior has also found its way online. Okay, so Zoom bombing. Now, how can we avoid Zoom bombing? So, for example, you would be asking yourself, how comes our meeting has not yet been Zoom bombed? Okay? You understand? There are a number of things you can do to avoid Zoom bombing, like, for example, avoid using your personal meeting ID. So everyone who is registered on Zoom has a personal meeting ID. Okay. So let's say if I am inviting someone for a Zoom meeting, avoid using your personal meeting ID, because your personal meeting ID it's like it doesn't change. Okay. So today I use the same, tomorrow it will be the same. Now what you use, Zoom can automatically create meeting IDs, okay, for every meeting you organize. So they are unique every time. Okay. Second, always use a meeting password. So every Zoom meeting has the ability to have a password or no password or an easy password. Okay? You could have a Zoom meeting with a password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can have a Zoom meeting with a password 0000. You can have a Zoom meeting with no password. Okay. Now that increases the chances of Zoom bombing. So always use a meeting password, a good meeting password. Okay. Then use Zoom's waiting rooms. So many of us who are attending this call now, notice when you click join this meeting, it showed something like wait for the host to let you in or something like that. So that enables the host to do some simple vetting. Who is this? Do we know this person? Is it someone who registered for the meeting maybe? Okay. Before letting you in, and there is nothing a Zoom bomber can do in a Zoom meeting, in a Zoom waiting room. Right? So if you don't let them in, they can cause havoc. Now this is like having a physical conference with someone at the entrance. Okay, that's why when you go for these conferences, you notice they always ask you, did you register? Maybe if you registered, yes. So where is your? There's that thing that I'm forgetting the name. For most of these meetings, we just online. These events, it creates something that you go with. Okay, or a meeting pass. or conference pass, something that will enable you to get in, okay? Then mute audio and disable video for meeting attendees. So now this is for the host. When you mute audio and video for everyone, that means even if it is a Zoom bomber and they bypass all these checks, they will not be able to say something vulgar, or they will not be able to show something vulgar, okay? Maybe they could be able to type something vulgar, but bypassing these first three sounds easy, but it's not that easy, okay? Then turn off screen sharing for everyone apart from meeting hosts. So for this meeting that we're having, or for this discussion, not everyone is able to share their screen, okay? And that is just to enable us to avoid the act of Zoom bombing. So briefly, those are some of the online vulnerabilities that we discussed. Now, those are not the only ones. There are so many. If we begin talking about them now, we will need short breaks, and then we come back, and then again, so the whole day. So there are general tips for online safety, okay? And that's what we're going to be looking at. Are we together? Hopefully we are still together, and we are not yet worn out, okay? I don't know the time. We still have some time, yes. Okay, so briefly, these are general tips for online safety. And the most important tip, install an antivirus. Install a good antivirus, okay? And what do I mean by a good antivirus? Install an antivirus which has a good record, which is, you don't hear bad stuff about it. There are so many, if we saw in the other engine, there are so many, more than 100 antiviruses. Even there are those which design their viruses. So if you're using them and they have a paid version and you don't want to pay, maybe they will design their own viruses. I do not actually have evidence of that, but I always, inside I feel, these people are not easy, okay? So always install a good antivirus, the ones which are recommended. Now, antivirus protects your device from all kinds of malicious software, okay? Like spyware, spamware, hardware. There are so many, okay? And some of the antivirus software, they include Kaspersky, which some of us actually use, McAfee, or McAfee, or something like that, AVG, Avast, etc. So there are so many. The second tip, use a strong, unique, and random password. Now, the discussion on passwords is becoming a song. So someone will say every now and then password. So it is password after password. You go to this platform, create a password. You go to this other platform, create a username and password. So if we start counting the passwords that we have, there are so many, okay? We have so many online accounts that have passwords, and that is a big problem because many people end up doing something that is not recommended. We use the same password on all platforms. So you find Twitter is the same password. Facebook is the same password for Twitter. Okay? I mean, even your laptop, the password you use is the same. Okay? Some of us use pins, which are our bank pins. The same pin, you use it somewhere else, which is asking for a pin. Okay? Now, that is a very bad and highly unrecommended practice. Why? Because if someone successfully hacks your Facebook, the first thing they'll always do is attempt the same password on all the other platforms. Okay, they will go to Twitter and try to use that same password. So what are the chances if you are using the same password? Very high. Okay. Now, like when we say strong passwords, okay, we really mean long passwords, right? Long good passwords. And by 16 to 20 characters, I'm not saying you write 1 to 16. It's long, yes, but it's not a good password. Are we together? Use characters that contain unpredictable words. Mix letters, numbers, characters, hashtag, dash, exclamation mark. Use as many characters as you can. And I have seen someone who had a password which is 100 characters. That depends on your threat level, okay? Are we together? So if whatever you're trying to protect is very, very sensitive, there is no limit. the number of characters you can use, as long as you're able to memorize. So, for example, if you look at this password, it has numbers, it has letters, it has characters. But I am not telling you that this is the best password. No. But I am saying something like that is better than a password which is your birthday or which is your name. Some of us have names they used to call us when we are young, and they are our passwords now. So you can imagine. Just mix. And actually, browsers are now having features which enable you to create like random passwords. So you just use the browser to create a random password and then save it. Now you are going to ask me, how will I be able to remember a password like this if I have 100 accounts? Even Genius says that it can take them some time or trouble to remember. Okay, some of us have forgotten how even we write our signatures. So you can imagine having 100 unique passwords. That brings us to something else that we are calling password managers. Okay, now password managers help you to store your passwords. Okay, so you have your 100 unique passwords, very strong, very long. Okay, very hard to guess, almost impossible actually. And then you store them inside your password manager, and you have one good password. Okay, that you will have to remember, only one. Okay, so every time you want to go and log in, you just go to your password manager, pick your password, and paste wherever you want. And actually, many of these password managers are advanced, so they can tell. So if you have, let's say, Keepers XC, and it has your password for Facebook, the strong password, that means when you go to Facebook and it's asking for your username and password, these password managers, some of them have browser extensions or plugins that integrate with your what? With your browser. So you are on Facebook, it will just ask for the one password I talked about, the one strong password that you'll have to remember. Or you can call it the master password. It will just ask for that. When you enter it, it pastes your what? Your Facebook password, the long one. And you don't even have to even know which characters you use. Okay? As long as you do not forget, though, as long as you don't forget the master password. Some of these password managers, once you forget the master password, then recovering your other passwords will be a bit difficult. Okay. Some of them have other precautions because forgetting is human. Okay? So even if you forget the master password, it has other steps it will ask you to recover. Are we together? Hopefully we are. So I just want to show, I don't know, do we still have time?
It's at the top
Yes.
of the hour. I was hoping you might be able to take a few questions from the audiences
Okay.
before everyone leaves. Are you able to do that?
Yeah, actually, I think we are on the last slide, so we can take some questions.
Okay, so Joanne has asked what tools can be installed on our devices to make sure we're safe online apart from a secure VPN. That was one. And then Musa said that at some point in time, some unknown person posted nonsense on his Facebook account without his knowledge and it tarnished his image. And I guess the question would be what happened and how could that have been avoided maybe?
Yes, thank you very much. Let me answer those two, starting with the question for Musa. So now, when you use Facebook, okay, or any other social media account, the only two things that you need to log in is your username and the password. And that's what most of us actually use. Now, once you are using a very simple password, or let's say you were using your Facebook account in an internet cafe and the timing stopped you, so you left it without logging out. Anyone else who gets on that computer might be able to access your details. Then the issue of using weak passwords. Okay? So in simple, use something else that we're talking about here that are called two-step verification or two-step authentication. Now, what that means is you are not only using your username and password, you're using your username and password and another second method. So that is usually, it uses SMS. So it sends a code to your phone. So if you are logging into a device for the first time, it will send a code to your telephone number that you registered on that platform. And it will send a code there that you will need to enter on Facebook before it can log you in. If you do that, okay, even if your password fell into the wrong hands, the chances of you ever have used the computer they're using is very low. Okay, so they'll have your password, but how will they be able to get your telephone number or the message that they sent to your phone? It's very hard. That protects you from the issue of someone else maybe getting access to your account and creating havoc, posting decent stuff. Then John asked what other tools we can install on our devices. I think besides antivirus, no, besides VPN. Is that correct?
Yes,
Nima?
besides VPN.
Actually, VPN just like conceals your details like location or IP address. It doesn't actually protect you on the device itself. Okay. Now, on the device, the things you will need are passlock, or you need passwords. Okay. You need softwares like AppLock. That means even if maybe your phone didn't have a password, but you have AppLock, and there are apps like, let's say, camera or photos that have sensitive information, even if it fell to the wrong hands, they cannot gain access because you are having AppLock and you are using a password. Okay, so one, use an antivirus that will protect your device from malware and spyware and other viruses. Two, the VPN, use it to protect your communication. Okay, you understand? So to protect your communication. Then three, what we are calling the what? The lock, the app lock, and then the passwords. Are we together? Yes, Nima. Next question.
Okay, Sandra has asked, I received an email from FreePick informing me someone hacked into their system and accessed only my email. What does that mean? That's one. And we had one more that asks, how can I protect my phone from being phished by another person? Thanks.
Okay, I'll answer Sandra first. Now, if you receive that email saying their system was hacked and they only got details for your account, chances are high, I wish I could see that email, but chances are high that might be a phishing attack. Okay, so if you look at the email they are sending you very well, is there a link that maybe it is asking you to click? Are there some signs of sense of urgency in the email? And for you to rest assured, if you feel maybe it is true, what you do, maybe don't respond to that email. Go to the email server's website, okay, and get the email addresses which are there. I am not saying it is hard to actually hack a whole email server and they only get your details, but the chances are very low. Okay, and for you to confirm, use known details of the email server, like the email address. So don't respond to the one they have sent you with, because if you saw the one that I showed you, the phishing attack, the email actually looked like it was from Facebook, like everything about it, notifications at Facebook, and it is Facebook. Okay, so it's better to go to their website and then you get the email details from there. Some of these platforms that are on social media, you can actually reach out to them and ask if it is really true. And yes, if it is true, then you can take the necessary precautions to stay safe, like changing your password and stuff like that, but not doing what they're telling you in the email itself. Neema, I forgot the second question.
The second question was about how do you protect yourself from, how do you protect your mobile phone from phishing attempts?
Now, thank you very much. Like a phishing attempt, like I said, they always send maybe an email or a message and it will be trying to direct you to click a link. That is the main way of how a phishing attack works. Okay. Now, for you to protect your phone is if you receive the email on your phone, the same steps apply. Don't do whatever the email is trying to tell you. So don't click the link. Why am I emphasizing on you not clicking the link? When you click a link, you are trying to pass commands, or you're trying to instruct your device to do something. And it can actually instruct it to install whatever is in the link. Okay? So you don't click. If you don't click links in emails, okay, trust me, it is going to be very hard for you to be phished. Okay, that is the bait. The bait in a phishing email is you clicking the link actually. So if the fish doesn't take the bait, you cannot get the fish. Okay. Yes, Neema. Another question?
Someone has asked, I would like to know the solutions to digital attacks. So I'm not sure if this means like, what do you do? I guess a lot of the advice you've been giving is how to prevent yourself from being attacked, but maybe this question is, what do you do once you've been attacked?
Okay, that is a very good question. So, and if you go through the unfortunate thing of being attacked, don't panic. Reach out to the people who are able to offer assistance. There is a whole community of digital security practitioners in Uganda, for example. It's called the Digital Security Alliance. So everyone who does this, who does the trainings, who does the research, who does the consultancy, it's a whole community. Okay? So if you feel you have already been attacked, let's say your Facebook account has already been hacked, you don't have access, or you want to recover, reach out. Okay. If you cannot protect yourself, or if you cannot do it yourself, reach out. Then we will be able to provide you with the assistance you need. Okay. That is the best thing. Okay? But for example, if your Facebook account has been hacked, what you can do is try to recover or try to change your password. I think it gives us those options of recover your account, change your password. But if you feel you can't do that, then reach out to the community. Yes, Neema?
Okay, I think we are almost out of time. I just had one story to share, which is I'd been expecting this email for a long time, but I don't think you mentioned that website, haveibeenpawned.com?
No, I think it was somewhere down here.
Okay, so haveibeenpawned.com is a website where you can put in your email address and you can see if your email and password was leaked in any hacks. So what these hackers will do is that they'll go and get your old passwords. For example, the password that I received was my password from maybe 10 years ago. And so they'll send you in. So the email came and the subject was my password, my old password. And then the email said, we know all your passwords. We have activated the video camera on your computer and we have naked videos of you. And if you don't send us money via Bitcoin, then we'll leak your videos to all your friends and colleagues. And people actually do get very worried and intimidated, because if you don't change your password frequently, then maybe I would still be using my password from 10 years ago and I would think that this is a real attack. But maybe Andrew, you can show them this at.
Actually, I am doing so, and my email has ever been found.
Yeah, I think there was a big LinkedIn leak, and I think that's where they got my password from.
So as you can see, this is one of the email I created some time back. And if you can see, I searched for it and they said found on 11 breached sites. So which sites are those? Okay. I'm failing to do this. But actually, if you check, sorry. I noticed this is the email I used to use on LinkedIn. So one time I saw actually my actual password for LinkedIn, and they sent me that, please, you have very nasty behavior. We have ABC, and we are going to leak, but we are honest people. If you send this amount of money, you will never hear from us. Exactly. We will delete. You understand? So if anyone who wants to check their email, you just enter it here. Okay, it will show you whether you have ever been found or not. Okay, but mostly many of us have actually been found just because we have never checked. Yeah, every day that goes by, websites are being hacked. accounts are being stolen, and some of them don't report to their users actually. Okay. So,
Yeah, cool. So I think this brings us
actually they
to
are here. Yes,
you can see
they are
them.
actually here. Okay.
Canva. Oh.
So Canva, Adobe was in 2013, 00 web host 2015. So actually you can see Last FM,
LinkedIn is
LinkedIn
down there.
2016. Okay, because that's the same password. I mean, it's the same email that I used to use. Okay, and I actually used to use the same password. So this is why I was emphasizing, don't use the same password. Okay, as you can see, quite some time back, but okay. So
yeah.
Any other questions?
I think those are the bulk of the questions. But yeah, I think maybe you can just give us the closing parting words, and then we can close up in the next 2-3 minutes.
Okay. So thank you very much. What I have been giving was general tips. Okay. That's why I was talking of things like good passwords, things like two-step verification, things like VPN. Okay. Using a VPN helps you in that, first of all, even your locations are concealed and see your IP address cannot be seen. It is important to use a VPN. Okay. But most importantly, use browsers that are good and aimed at protecting users. Use search engines that are able to protect you. For example, we all know google.com is like a corporation, is owned by a business. Okay? So whatever they do is to ensure that they make money from you and you use their services for free. Okay? So that means things like selling your data, things like sending you ads. That's why actually Google has Google Ads, things like that. So maybe use platforms like Tor browser, for example, is made by a non-profit. They are not aimed at making money. Okay, they're aimed at ensuring that your security is good. So if you use Tor browser, you are able to have very secure connection. Okay? And for example, during the time of elections, probably internet is going to be shut down and social media and stuff like that. Okay, you can use such platforms. Then what else did I want to say? I already spoke about VPN. Yes. Now, the last is every day, everything that you search on your browser, every link that you visit on your browser is stored. Okay. So always have the habit of clearing your browser, cache and browser search history. Okay. It's a good practice because remember we spoke of spyware, which is aimed at taking advantage of you leaving your browsing data. Okay. So to wrap it up, if you're using your browser has modes. Okay? It has private mode, it has incognito. I think incognito is for Google Chrome. Firefox should be private window. So as you can see. So when you open a private window, that means whatever you do here, whatever you search, whatever website you go to, will not be logged when you leave. Okay. So you search anything from here, the history will not be stored. Okay? Are we together? Firefox clears your search and browsing history when you quit the app or close all private browsing tabs and windows. Even on Google Chrome, it has incognito mode. Digital security is wide, okay? So you can't cover it all in 1 hour, but we are provided you with the basics, okay? That you can do to ensure that at least you are one step further away from the practices you have been doing. You understand? But it's a long-term commitment. If you decide to start using good passwords, you have to commit to it. You don't do it simply because they have said you do it. You do it simply because you know it will ensure that you and your information is safe online. Okay. So we can give you all these tips and all these step-by-step guides, and if you are not willing to change your behavior, okay, it will be futile. Okay. Yes, Nema, I think with that, I can wrap up, and I can only say that we are still available for any other questions. the email, through Twitter. I
Exactly.
said the community is there as a whole. So please reach out.
Cool. This was very
Thank you
useful.
very much.
Thank you so much for all your wisdom. And yeah, as Andrew said, you can always reach out to us and stay in touch so you can know when the next training is, and maybe we can do some in-person workshops depending on the situation. But if not, I think I'll close here. Thank you all for coming and have a great day.
Thank you very much, Nima. Thank you very much, everyone.
Bye.